we have the cheapest Mercedes AMG facelift model that I bought from Salvage auction. So there's a reason why this car is so cheap. Just like the other videos, this car does not turn on. This is a Category S and it was involved in a frontal collision, but the damage is much more than what we can see. Apart from the engine not turning on, there is a lot of damage and we'll go through them now. Driver side headlight damage, passenger side headlight damage, front end damaged, bonnet damaged, radiator pack damaged, passenger wing damaged, rear quarter panel damaged, steering airbag damaged, knee airbag damaged, the rear not damaged. The only thing that's not damaged. Come, let's take a closer look. So from what we can see straight away, it looks like this car has gone into a pole or into something and it's just smashed in here. When purchasing the car, as always, I did a car history check. But before even paying for a check, I found some interesting information for free. For example, I found that this car was up for sale early this year for just under £32,000 and had done only 19,000 miles. It would have sold for around that price. This gave me an idea of how much this car was worth, and on top of that there's a bunch of free checks like the brake horsepower, the top speed, insurance group and much more. I always run a free check, even if I don't buy the car. It doesn't cost a penny and gives a tons of information. When I do go ahead with a car, I do a full check and the report is very comprehensive. For example, the written off details, and it will most likely have damaged photos if the car was put through salvage auction. And there's a ton of more information such as the finance details. I'm just sharing this because it's something I use and I find it to be very helpful. The big problem we have is I can't turn the car on now because the way it's been hit is pushed back the complete radiator pack. From what we can see, just observing, the complete radiator pack has gone backwards and has gone into the engine. So the biggest problem we have and the biggest concern is the engine okay? Is the engine casing damaged? Is there oil leaking? Is there any pipes burst? So because of that, I can't turn this car on right now, or I can't even attempt to turn this car on. The first thing we're going to do is completely change the radiator pack. And once we do so, we can try and get the engine turned on. Okay guys, so let's start stripping the front bits so we can get to the engine. Firstly, our focus is on removing the radiator support panels. There's about 3 bolts on either side at the back holding it onto the chassis. Once we remove those, I'm just moving on to removing loads of bolts on top of the slam panel which holds everything in place. The plan is here to remove those bolts and then we can just take off the slam panel from the top and get access to the radiator. Now the support holder is loose, we're able to pull it off the car. And clearly we can see the radiators are bent. I mean, we knew that anyway. It was clear to see from the crash that the complete radiator pack is damaged and will need replacing. The crash bar is also loose, so we can just pull that off as well. It is important to note that when taking off these damaged parts, it's fairly straightforward. I mean, you can tell exactly where you need to unscrew to remove the parts. However, when putting the parts back on, it's important to know exactly which screw goes in where. Otherwise, a bolt can easily be forgotten, or it can take so much time just trying to figure out exactly which screw it is that goes into where it needs to go. Now it's getting exciting. We are almost at the engine. I am taking off all the hoses from the condenser radiator to the coolant radiator and the connectors to the fan. And there we have it, our damaged radiator. We have an intercooler sitting on the front of the engine and that looks completely fine, which probably means the engine is okay. Well, I hope. Before attempting to turn the car on, I'm going to put back the radiator pack and so we can test all at once, the engine and the radiator pack. I am removing the crash absorber bars on both sides. It will just make it easier for me to put the new radiator back on, and plus we need to change them anyway. Just 3 bolts on either side and that should just come off. You need a heavy tool for this one because yeah, the bolts were quite hard to take off, especially from the accident. The bolts were slightly bent, made it even more tricky. Next is the crash bar bottom impact absorber. That needs changing too, along with the radiator holder brackets on both sides. When I originally ordered the brackets, I bought it for the normal C-Class and I thought it's the same thing. As you can see, there's a difference between the C43 holder and a C-Class. Now, here is our radiator pack. I bought this one, a genuine Mercedes parts, but this was purchased directly from eBay for about £700. And the car this radiator pack was on had only done about 10,000 miles. So even better, as my car has done about 20,000 miles. It comes complete with all the bits, all the radiators and the fan. And the part numbers match to our radiator and to our fans that we originally had. Now, exactly how we took off the radiator pack, we need to do the same thing again when putting it back on. We just have to reverse the process. We just put all the hoses back the same way we took it off. The good thing is the hoses and all the plugs will only go in one way, meaning it's not possible for us to put it in the wrong way. I mean, when it doesn't go in or when it's struggling to go in, you know it's not in the right place. The hoses and the plugs have a certain length. So if we try to put a hose where it shouldn't go, it just wouldn't reach and it just wouldn't fit. I am using the original transmission oil cooler that came with the car that sits next to the fan. When observing, it looks like it's okay, but we'll only really know once we turn on the car and the transmission oil gets hot. Then we'll know if there's any leakage or if there's anything wrong with it. Now, everything is back in and now it's time for the coolant to go in. I can't remember how much coolant this car needed, but it was quite a lot. Now, the moment of truth, it's time to turn on the car. Here we go. It's not looking good. It looks like something is leaking. Okay guys, we have some good news and we have some bad news. The good news is the car turns on, the engine sounds okay, the radiator pack is holding coolant, and as far as we've checked, it looks okay. But the bad news is we have a very, very bad oil leak. The oil leak is coming from the gearbox oil cooler. We don't have enough room to work on the transmission oil cooler. So what we need to do is to take off the radiator pack again, take that completely off, and then we can get to the transmission oil cooler and see what's wrong with it. Let's take another look at this oil leak. I've turned the car on for about 5 minutes and the leak is getting progressively worse. It's very clear that it's coming from the transmission oil cooler. The job of this oil cooler is essentially to cool down transmission fluid, prevents overheating and potential damage to the transmission. It sits next to the fan and this is what it looks like. But on a closer inspection, it looks like the leak is coming from the cooler feed line pipe. What this does, it circulates hot transmission fluid away from the gearbox to the cooler and then returns the cooled fluid back to the gearbox. And that, I believe, is where the leak is coming from. We will need to order these feed line pipes and get this replaced. So, in part 2, we will fix this issue and complete this rebuild. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked the video, hit that like button, share it and subscribe if you haven't already. We have a new video out every Sunday. See you then.